So, thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Hottoys Neon Tech Ironman Mark IV. Today, I'll be reviewing this figure in 6 categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once all scores are totaled, I'll be giving you my opinion if this figure is a pass or a purchase. So, let's take a look at what Iron Man comes with. So, he comes with this laser effect piece, which is done in a translucent turquoise color. Not sure if this is coming out the clearest on screen. We receive a number of attachments that are done in that same turquoise color. I gotta admit that I am not a fan of the missiles being done in turquoise. Having a little bit of trouble focusing here. There we go. To me, it looks a bit odd or a bit silly. We receive a base. I think it would have been very cool if Hot Toys would have done this with a light-up feature. So Iron Man comes with 4 pair of hands. We receive 4 that are fisted. The difference with the normal fisted hands in this one is that it has a port that you can plug the laser piece. Each time I try to do attachments on camera, it does not work out so well. Oh, proved myself wrong. And there you go. And I must admit, that looks good. So for accessories, we don't get much in the terms of new. These are all items that we have seen with previous releases of Iron Man. In addition, we only get 1 head sculpt, no alternate mask, no Tony Stark head. So for accessories, I'm going to give this figure an 8 out of 10. So for articulation, the head is able to look up very far, about this much down. It's able to turn to the side, as well as you get an okay amount of pivot. So you're able to lift up the shoulder to extend the arm about that much. It's also able to rotate full 360. You get an upper bicep cut there. No rotation below the elbow with the exception of the wrist, which hinges up and down as well as side to side. The elbow is double jointed, bending up about that much. Also with the arm, you get the butterfly movement coming this far in and about that much to the back. So you get no crunch backwards. No crunch forward. You do get some upper rotation in the torso and barely any pivot. So you're able to get the leg to kick up about that far, which is excellent. There's some tabs that you can move to give extra range of movement. It goes back about that much, and since I'm on the leg, double jointed knees bending in about that much. You do get upper rotation at the hip. No swivel below the hip. The foot is able to lift up that much, down that much, barely any pivot. However, the toe piece pivots more, and the toe is able to go up that much as well as down that much. I was actually expecting more range of movement here, but the hips, they don't appear to drop down, and they only extend out about that much. So for articulation, I am very happy with the amount of articulation that we receive in the head. A bit disappointed at the amount of articulation we get in the torso, as well as the legs being able to extend out only that much is also disappointing. So for overall articulation, I'm going to give Iron Man a 7 out of 10. So for design, Hot Toys was able to capture the likeness of Tron. The glossy black works extremely well with the matted turquoise color. The images that Hot Toys released revealing this figure shows it to be more luminous. Having it in hand, I can tell you that it is very apparent that the turquoise is a paint and actually not light, even though it looks good. My one gripe with the design is that Hot Toys did not go all the way and provide LED lighting throughout, or use a glow-in-the-dark paint that would actually have this glow. With that said, I am still happy with the overall design. The black Iron Man armor makes this reused figure seems fresh and new. So for design, I am going to give Iron Man an 8 out of 10. So is this essential to your collection? Let me be clear. When it comes to Hot Toys Iron Man figure, I am a sucker. I will purchase repaints. I will purchase figures that are done over in die cast, and I may even purchase old figures that have new accessories. So I'm perhaps the wrong person to answer this question. Keeping that in mind, where would this Iron Man figure actually fit into your collection? It is so different from what we have received before. And quite frankly, it looks odd standing next to your typical red and gold Iron Man figure. This particular Iron Man has no connection with the MCU, and as far as I know, it has no connection with the comics. Also taken in mind that it's essentially the Mark IV dressed in wolf clothes. So what does all that mean? I really don't think that a lot, or most, rather, let me say most Hot Toys Iron Man collectors feel that they have to have this particular Iron Man. So for that, I am going to give this a 3 out of 10 for being essential to your collection. So let's take a look at functionality. So one of the things that I like that Hot Toys has incorporated with each of their Iron Man figures would be the use of the magnet. The faceplate has metal strips. On top of the head is a magnet, which allows you to easily remove the pieces to either swap out faceplates or to get access to where the batteries go. Hot Toys has also incorporated that system up top so that you can add and replace certain weapons. It just saves, a lot of time to simply be able to put this in place. Not the easiest to do while on camera. Actually, it is pretty easy. And it inserts in so easy. So upon the arms, there's also another area to where you can swap out. However, this part is not held by magnets, and I really wish that it was. But instead of using magnets, there are ports and plug-in systems, which isn't bad. I just like the magnet much better. That way you don't have to worry about possibly breaking off any of these pieces. So something else that I like about this figure is that on the hands, you can see, I'm not sure what to call this part, but it is flexible. So it allows you to be able to push the arm back as well as forward to get some added range of movement. So that's something that I like very much. Sticking on to the same thing and added range of movement, I really like how Hot Toys has decided to add the shoulder pad to the arm itself rather than the shoulder. This allows you to completely get it out of the way and get the most possible range of movement that you can from this arm. In addition, Hot Toys has also incorporated slots by the legs that allow you to move the legs further back or to lift them more up towards the side. Something else that I really like. In addition to those things, we also get some parts of the body that are functional. The flaps move their way up on the back. Something that I like. Not sure if you can hear that sound, but that is my baby boy in the background. But we are going to push through. So now with all the good that Hot Toys has developed, there are a few areas that need improvement. So let's start with this part. Hot Toys has to incorporate either rotation underneath the knee so that this section of the boot can move, or rotation at the foot so that this is able to move. Something that should be relatively simple to add to their Iron Man figures. So my next desire would be an updated lighting system. Not that anything is wrong with the lights that they use. They are luminous, they're bright. My issue is that it takes so much to install, and this is the reason that I do not install batteries in my Ironman figures. It has to be a way for them to incorporate one battery, maybe to insert something larger, maybe one AAA battery that should be able to light the eyes, the arc reactor, as well as the hands. Having to take pieces off of the arm to insert batteries, having to open up the back to insert batteries for the arc reactor, and having to remove pieces of the helmet to do the same, for me is just too cumbersome, and it's not worth it for batteries that will only give you a few hours to display them lit. So for overall functionality, I'm going to give Ironman an 8 out of 10. So for pricing, Ironman comes in at $385, and that's before the $20 shipping from Sideshow. So now the question that everyone is wondering, is he worth it? So what we're looking at is the idea of the movie Tron sculpted onto the Mark IV. So some of the negatives are that we don't receive any new accessories. We don't even receive some of the parts that came with the Mark IV. And the fact that this is an increase of close to $50 and we're receiving less accessories counts against the Neon Tech Ironman armor suit. In addition, we don't even receive any Tron-like accessories. I know in the movie, they use what I remember to be the disc. That would have been great to have with this. However, we don't receive it. Considering the Neon Tech areas are not actually LED lighting, it makes me wonder at least, why is this figure more than the Mark IV itself? But we all know that the collectors didn't purchase this for accessories. They purchased it for what it looks like. So let's talk about the design. So Ironman is done in a gorgeous black. The sheen is persistent over the entire figure. The turquoise paint is clean, and the line work does not break, connecting each line to each part that it's supposed to be connected with. Though this is a repaint of the Mark IV, it's not simply a repaint. The glossy wet look and the vibrant turquoise line gives way for what looks more like an Ironman villain, some piece of technology that Tony Stark's created and decided to have a mind, an entity of its own. So for pricing, I am giving Ironman a 5 out of 10, which brings him to an overall Cliff score of 38 out of 60. Now, is he a pass or a purchase? For me, it's another Ironman figure to add to my collection, and for that alone, for me, he is a purchase. Here's Ironman next to Captain America, and rightfully so, he's taller. And here he is next to Armored Batman. Originally, I was thinking that they shouldn't be this much different in height. However, Bruce Wayne is surely taller than Tony Stark. So if you were to put a suit of armor around their frame, Batman would obviously be the taller out of the two. So thanks again for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop, and I hope to see you during the next review.